The longest running saga. There's always one, isn't there? Every single summer, there's always one transfer that grabs the attention more than any other. And you know what I'm going to say, and I make no apology for saying it. Alexander Isak, from what we know, have been told that he has told Newcastle that he refuses to play for them again. Now that's a line drawn under it. I don't know how there's a way back for him. You know what football's like. There's always a way back somehow, Perry. The door never shuts completely. But I have to say, it feels as though it feels the end of the road for him at Newcastle right here, right now. But what does that mean? Because he's still a Newcastle player, and Liverpool have not stumped up the money they want. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Thing is, it's right move, because he's obviously moved out, so he's probably used right move, and there are other haulage companies that are available and remove companies. Yeah. The right move for him is obviously he wants to go to Liverpool. But I must say, I know the players have all the power now, and when we played, we had no power. The clubs had every bit of power. You couldn't say, I want to leave, I'm going on strike, because you'd be with the cabbages and all the sheep for about 6-7 months, wouldn't you? So, but I still think that there's a right way to go about it, and he hasn't. And it just leaves a taste of a distinct lack of respect for Newcastle fans, for Eddie Howe, for the players. The players won't care. The players will be laughing. Yeah. Like they'll be having, like texting, well, what's happening? Or you still here? Well, you're coming back. You still got your place, your boots, or whatever. They'll have a laugh and a joke. And if he comes back, it won't bother them.
No, it won't. I've heard this. People sometimes ask the question, how are the players going to feel on the camp?
Won't care.
You're absolutely right. They've been, footballers they know the industry that they're in, that we were in, and it literally is you do the best that you can. Now, you're right. There is a way to go about it. The fans are the ones, their loyalty never wavers. Their loyalty will be there from the moment they can breathe, the moment they stop breathing, because that's what fans do. It's their club. They're invested in it in a very, very different way. But they're not going to understand that, the Newcastle fans, are they? And I get why, because it's a kick in the teeth to them.
No, I think they'd understand it, him wanting to go to Liverpool, because it's a step up from Newcastle.
Yep.
We all know about the food chain.
Yeah.
They'd understand that he wants to be, obviously, a team that's got a chance of winning the Champions League and winning the Premier League. And let's be honest, Newcastle haven't. Newcastle, it's now their best season they can ever have now is getting in the Champions League positions, because they know that they're always going to sell their best player. And from the fans' point of view, I think now he has no legacy at Newcastle. They would say if he'd have gone in the right way, they'd have understood it. And I still think he'd have had affection. He'd been seen as a hero, obviously scoring a goal, first trophy they've won like for 70 years,
yeah.
which you put your mark in history.
Yeah.
But I think with the fans, they might be wrong, Newcastle fans are in, I think that they will just basically disown him if he leaves. But if he comes back and Newcastle dig their heels in, because we spoke off air, if there's one club that they don't need to sell him for PSR reasons, right? If there's one club that has the money, and when you're used to having loads of money and power, you don't like being told what to do. You don't like being dictated to. So it's the Newcastle owners, whether they dig their heels in and they say, you ain't going. Because now we've got a power struggle.
Yeah, there is a power struggle. And for the best of the football club right now, that's the most important thing, isn't it, Sack? It's what is the best for this football club? What Eddie Howe, and I feel for Eddie because he's found himself in a situation where he's had 2 or 3 really good years for Newcastle, and he's won the first trophy in X amount of generation, and he finds himself in this position, and through no fault of his own, it could really have a massive detrimental impact on their season.
Very much so, because he would be in the top 3 centre forwards in the world at the moment, and he knows that he is, and he knows that his stock's very high. Let's be honest, when he came from Real Sociedad, 65 or 63 million,
it was,
that was seen as a bit of a gamble. He didn't rip it up with Real Sociedad. I think he averaged about a goal every 2.5 games. Exactly, yeah. But he's come to Newcastle. He's adapted to the Premier League. Eddie Howe has helped make him the player that he is. The first season, he had a bad hamstring injury, and he got 10 in 22. Second season, 21 in 30. Last season, 23 in 34, and the winning goal, right? So he's improved dramatically as a player. Yeah. But if Eddie Howe actually says there's a way to conduct yourself, and he's basically saying he sent him home from training, then he went to train at Real Sociedad, then he come back, and Eddie Howe, I said at the time, there's no way in the world that he will be training with the Newcastle players. He'll be told, if you're injured or you train, you come in early before the players are. I'll play and train with the players that want to be here, and then you can come in the afternoon and come and train on your own or get your trip, whatever it is. But he won't be around the players because of negativity. But if they dig their heels in Newcastle and he doesn't sign, Jess, there's always a way back. How many players do you know that have been on strike, come back? Carlos Tevez, we mentioned it at Man City, went on strike. 6 months, didn't play, come back, scored loads of goals, he won the title. You had Diogo Costa at Chelsea. Riyad Mahrez is another one. If Isak doesn't go and he comes back and he scores 3 goals in his first 3 games or 4 goals, then
I think the fans won't care.
No. Well, all football fans are fickle. How would you see it now then? There's so many different, there's the options. How would you see this panning out?
Say that again, sorry, Piers. Sorry, mate.
How would you see this panning out?
Well, I think there's too much money in it. The fact that we're talking 110, I think if Liverpool want him, I think they're going to have to go a little bit high, 120. I think that's probably going to be enough. Where we find ourselves right now, Newcastle might have to just say, do you know what? Let's get rid of this problem. And it is an issue and it is a problem. For £120 million, let's move that problem away and we move forward as a football club. I don't see the point in keeping him right now. And Newcastle fans, we hear this often about fans saying, stick him in the reserves and let him rot. Those days are gone. They don't exist anymore.
Because they're multi-millionaires.
Right. And you don't want to have a player that's your best player sitting in the stand, devaluing every single game that goes depreciating. That's not ideal either. So I think personally, there'll be by hook or by crook, this will happen, and I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how much money, but I just think that for Newcastle, you're best off saying, do we want this hanging around over our season? Every interview that Eddie Howe's going to do if the window shuts, what's happening with Isak? Where's Isak? You do not want that dominating your season.
But also, if Newcastle are going to do it, they've got to do it early, because the last thing you want this going on and on and on to the end of the transfer window, and then they don't get centre forward in.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.